Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today, you guys, is finally another review series. I wanted to tackle this series for a very long time. I finally was able to, sit down and watch them. Of course, you saw the thumbnail, you read the title. Your boys reviewing Tron 1 and 2. So, Tron Ares, Tron 3 is coming out, I believe, this year, next year? Soon, it's coming out soon. And I saw the trailer, of course. I didn't really want to react to it yet because I hadn't seen the first two yet. The time of seeing that, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna say something dumb. But yeah, actually, upon rewatching or just watching for the first time, I should say, Tron 1 and 2, they're pretty crazy. So this isn't like necessarily like a straight review type thing, but I'm gonna kind of be talking about Tron 1 and then Tron 2 just for a little bit and kind of giving you my overall thoughts. So, but I do want to hear from you. So tell me down below in the comments what you think about Tron 1 and Tron 2. Tron Legacy, and let me know what your thoughts are on these two movies. I actually had no freaking clue these were Disney films. I had no idea. I thought they were just, old movies from whereverville. But I guess it makes sense that Tron 3 is a Disney film, and Tron Light Cycle Run is at Magic Kingdom, Tomorrowland. So, yeah, maybe I'm the dumb one. But no, watching Tron, it says here, Tron, the original classic. Yeah, look, this is a groundbreaking film, okay? Like, in terms of, storytelling, no. But in terms of, I guess, CGI, I guess, When was the first one even made? I don't even know. 70-something? 80-something? Something like that? Doesn't give a date. But it's old. And these two movies really kind of set in stone what modern CGI or what, animation in terms of making a live-action film and kind of segmenting that with live-action. How do you make that look? How do you make that actually, look believable to a degree? So, yeah, look, there's a lot of moments in this film that are not that good, obviously, right? It's not only dated, but it's just kind of like poor decision making. There's a lot of information with Dillinger, the bad guy, and Encom, this like evil corporation, so to speak. Flynn is, of course, the main character, and he's really trying to Jeff Bridges. He's really trying to kind of figure out what's going on, right? And then, of course, he gets sucked into the game programming world, Norton VPN, whatever, of Tron, right? Tron is really like a programming unit. And, of course, in the program, or the what's called, the users, right, are like the humans, I believe, and like the programs or whatever, are the avatars inside the game or the computer or whatever. And then, of course, you meet Tron, who's an actual person, made by, I believe, his friend Alan. And you get the girl, which I don't remember her name. And then you get Flynn, and, they're just kind of going on this little adventure to kind of stop the main bad guys and kind of put an end to this evil, metaphorical, corrupt business or corrupt, leadership, so to speak, in this company through the game. And it's not the best story in the world, but it's a good enough setup where it's like, okay, obviously the shitting is going to happen, but it's believable enough to where, like, okay, I can kind of see a alternate reality, future, bending machine thing kind of sucking you into the game type thing. And I think, it's fun. Obviously, look, you got to suspend your disbelief a little bit with like 95% of the films I like, so it's fine. And with that, you kind of get sucked into this world and adventures happen, and you get the discs and all that. Obviously the disc that I really remember is the one in Tron Legacy, but in Tron 1, it's literally just like a spiral disc, and he just kind of throws it like a frisbee, and it's fun. It's I don't want to say cringy or lame, but I get it. It's an old movie for the time. This must have been effing mind bending, right? Like insanity to get these this completely grid-like CGI environment where they're kind of able to, wear these crazy costumes. And it's like Star Wars in a way, right? Like the original Star Wars A New Hope, Episode 4, really kind of shaped cinema in many, many ways. This kind of did as well. And I think they kind of, maybe the execution isn't all that great. There's a few awkward moments where, like, Bridges is just holding his buddy's hand for, like, 15, 20 seconds straight. They're drinking water, which I guess is, like, life juice or something. The end is completely horrible, where it just kind of cuts and they're in the real world. And then you see, like, Alan or some guy get off a helicopter and they just kind of do a little group hug, and then it just fucking cuts to credits. And I'm like, what did that mean? What's going on? I'm not stupid. I'm a 4.0 student, okay? I'm not an idiot. I watched this very intently, and I had a coffee, so I was like, all right, I'm awake, let's go, right? It's going to be great. And the ending was completely insane. There's a lot of things in this movie that, upon first viewing, and again, I'm not a moron, and I paid attention, upon first viewing, there are moments in this film where I literally sat there and I'm like, I don't know what is happening, I got to Google this. I got no clue. Like, they don't explain it that good. It's like, all right, users, programs, Dillinger, he's not really even that much in it, and then you get all this crazy stuff, and then really, 90 of us are there for the crazy disc throwing stuff and the light cycles, right, where they're on the motorbikes or whatever. And yeah, it looks good enough, right? Like, obviously, I believe the lore or the canon of Tron is that, depending on, I think, who gets sucked into the grid, you see, like, a different variation of the grid. That's at least my understanding. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. But, Bridges' character is kind of this, retro 80s style feel to it. And obviously when you get to Tron Legacy, it's more modern looking for the, modern age type thing, even though that movie's, freaking like 10 years old now at this point, more than that. It's modern enough, right? And now, of course, with Tron Ares, they're apparently coming into the real world, so that'll be interesting. And they kind of look like those, those red pagoda, Chinese pagoda, Japanese pagoda-looking things that kind of, float through and just beam you up or whatever. It's cool, right? The designs are cool, the tanks are cool, the light cycles are cool. So the concept of Tron 1 is really cool, right? That's pretty much undeniable. It's a cool concept, right? Especially if you're a dude, you like video games. But at the same time, the execution of this as a movie is a bit shaky, right? There's a few weird line readings. There's a few moments where I kind of was like, oh, this is kind of cringy, This is kind of dated in a bad way, not dated in a charming way. It's not a horrible film, but I was genuinely watching this being like, ugh. This is pretty ropey, It's pretty wonky at times. And again, I'm not just saying that because it's from the 70s or 80s or whatever. Like, obviously, duh, right? It's from an older time period. It's not going to look like an Avengers Endgame or Avatar: The Way of Water. But at the same time, there's moments where I'm like, okay, this could have been shot differently. This could have been edited better. This could have been, I don't know, rewritten and reacted better. Little things like that where I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, this could be different. Again, I watched this film 2 weeks ago, so I can't give you complete specifics. I've been very busy with school. But from what I remember, there were moments where I was like, okay, yeah, this is cool. Like, I'm digging this, right? I'm into the action. I'm into the whatever. But overall, Tron 1 isn't bad. It didn't leave a lot to be for me to look forward to. Tron 2, I was like, Tron 1's not horrible, but I'm like, I expected it to be better. I knew going into it wasn't going to be like a masterpiece of storytelling, but there were moments where I was like, that's really cool. I like that. I like that scene. I like the light cycles. Right? It's very cool. It feels Star Wars-esque, where people are in their light cycles and they're screaming, and then they blow up like an X-wing, or you get your Palpatine-looking guy, get some weird-ass-looking dude in like a chair with a big freaking head or a big hat or something. He's like the Yoda of the world. There's little things like that where I'm like, okay, I see what you're going for. I see what you're doing. Is the execution all the way there? No, but I think that the attempt is good and valiant, and I think that it is a decent effort to make this grandiose scope film, right? Where it doesn't feel like, this is shoestring budget. Like, no, clearly they spent time on this, and it is Disney, so Disney, they're not, at least especially back then, they're not deliberately trying to make a bad film, right? They don't even try to make a bad film now. It's just sometimes their politics get in the way of their storytelling. This obviously wasn't an issue back in the day, and they just wanted to tell you a story, thank God. But then we go into Tron Legacy and talk about a freaking improvement. Holy crap. I go into this movie and I'm like, alright, the first movie's, not bad. I'm not really looking forward to this next one because, it's maybe it'll get better. It's like, this is literally like Mission Impossible 1 and 2, where they're like, yeah, they're fine, I guess. They're not bad, they're fine. And then you get into Mission Impossible 3 through, 7, and it's like, oh my god, this is awesome. It was like, wow, like what a bump in quality, right? Same exact thing here. Tron 2 is, I don't want to call it a masterpiece, but it's pretty, like, I walked away and I was like, this is actually really good, right? Obviously, it follows Flynn. Jeff Bridges is still in this game. He's kind of trapped in, obviously spoilers for an 11-year-old film, he's trapped inside the game world of Tron, right? And then, he's the user, and then the program is, of course, Clue, C-L-U, and, Clue is kind of the computer-made avatar, so to speak, of Flynn, and he's kind of like, oh, hey, we're going to do great things together, we're going to do great, I want you to create the perfect society and make sure everything is great. And Clue's like, cool, I'm going to F everything up. He's like, no, don't! And then everything gets effed up. But at the same time, you kind of look at this and go, okay, I see what they're doing here, right? Flynn is trapped in the game. That's why he's been an absent father for his son Sam, which I like that actor. My only complaint with the guy playing Sam is that there's a lot of lines that I feel like the director was shooting this and he was like, oh, this will be great for the trailer. This will be effing great for a teaser or a TV spot or something, right? Because there's a lot of moments where Sam will look at the camera or look at, something, anything, right? Anything happening at all, right? He's getting attacked by a disc, or he's in the light cycle, or he's doing whatever with Cora or something, right? His dad, and he's just kind of saying these, like, quippy quotes that, like, like when you play a fighting game like Mortal Kombat or Injustice, like you beat someone up and they're like, too slow, reject, or something like that, or like, I got you in the bag, or some kind of dumb quote. That's what I feel like. He has a butt ton of catchphrases, and he's like, all right, let's do this. I'm ready. Oh, I'm down behind that. Okay, all right, let's go. Come on, like stuff like that. Where it's like, okay, I get it. I get what you're trying to do. You're the cool badass guy, right? You got to say cool badass things. But after a while, it just kind of got a little bit like, all right, if I was in this situation, I would not always be like, oh, let's go, let's do this. I'm ready. Come on. Like I'd be like, all right, get my bike and go. So like, I get it. It's a movie. They want your main character to be cool and say cool things, but I felt like they were trying too hard for him to be cool. He's cool enough, I guess, right? Like, he I don't know, it's whatever. It's a small complaint. But he is genuinely good in the film. I think that Olivia Wilde also, I was like, wow. Like, I remember her being, like, one of my first crushes. Like, and she's still hot in this film. But I remember, like, it was like a repressed memory. I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, wait, she looks really familiar. I was like, oh yeah, I remember her in the trailers. I never saw the film before, so I'm like, oh yeah, I remember her before. And I didn't know that she was the director of like a lot of recent movies, which is cool. She's good in the film. I think she's fine. I just remember her, and I was like, oh wow, okay, I remember this character now. And she's good. Sam's good. I think all the actors, and the acting in general, the storytelling, obviously the CGI, right? That's a no-brainer. Everything in this film is just built upon better in terms of the storytelling and the lore and the world building, but also just the objective movie making of the cinematography, the shots, the choreography, all this stuff. It all comes together a lot nicer in this film. Obviously, look, we're dealing with something from, the 80s, 70s, whatever, to 2011 or 2009, right? So there's obviously going to be a quality jump, right, or a quality gap between these two films. Not to say Tron 1 is bad, but Tron 2, I genuinely walked away from that film and be like, oh my god, like what an improvement. I love the storytelling. I love the stakes. I think it's cool that Jeff Bridges, returned and he, kind of has a more prominent role. I like the fact that Clue was the hero of the first film and he's kind of like the bad guy in this one because he's kind of wayward. And I remember sitting there going, oh, this is like Ninjago Season 12 Prime Empire. So I was like, oh, I'm kind of prepared for this already, right? I mean, I guess they just, I don't know if they ripped off Tron, but they probably inspired by it, which is a great season of the show. So I was like, oh yeah, cool, like this is bringing back those memories of Prime Empire. And going back to that, even watching this for the first time after re-watching the trailer once or twice to get excited for this film, I was like, wow, this is, genuinely, it really holds up. Even now in 2025, the CGI looks really great. I love that when they get killed, they're able to push the boundaries of a PG movie where, people get literally, Cora gets her arm cut off, someone gets their throat slit, people getting stabbed and shot, but instead of blood or whatever, because, you're in the Tron, you're in the computer, right? You're in the grid. They turn to, little baby Minecraft pixel blocks, and they just kind of fall apart, and it looks effing great. It's really freaking cool looking, and, I think it's a really, stylish way to show death, and just, the light cycles look incredible. I love, the almost liquidy, Jello-esque light energy, whatever the fudge comes out of the back of it. I mean, that's really cool looking. So I think there's a lot of stuff conceptually that looks good in the execution is also good. I think that's also something to be mentioned here. A lot of people are saying Tron Legacy is one of Disney's most underrated films ever. And I sat there, I'm like, yeah, I could easily see that. This is a very good movie. Again, I didn't hate Tron 1. But I walked out of my room going it was fine, I guess, not bad, but, whatever. But then Tron 2, I was like, oh, this is, really effing great. Now I'm genuinely excited for Tron Ares and to kind of see, what they're going to take with this in the next step. This is honestly one of Disney's most underrated franchises. And it's crazy because, I can't believe I haven't seen this before. Again, me as a massive Disney dude who goes to Disney World every freaking year for God knows how long, I haven't seen half of these original animated films. I haven't seen a lot of the Disney movies, which is really dumb and weird, right? I'm franchise fanatic. And obviously, that I'm busy with life and school, so I can't just watch movies all day. I wish I could. But it is interesting to, look back at this and be like, oh, I feel like a part of me is a little bit, like my franchise part of my brain is a little bit more complete, right? Because like I rode Tron Light Cycle Ride in Tomorrowland in Magic Kingdom. I rode that ride like 5 times now, since it opened. I remember them building it, and I was like, oh, this looks cool, right? I thought Tron was all about just the motorbike stuff, right? Or the light cycle stuff. I didn't know that it was this whole, live action segment with Flynn and the computer stuff and the hacking and the evil corporation thing. It's kind of like, RoboCop. I haven't seen RoboCop, but I do know that RoboCop has a lot of the, bureaucracy and the evil guy behind the chair, the desk guy who's in charge of the company. The CEO is corrupt or whatever. It's kind of like that. And it works, for the most part. And I think the execution in Tron Legacy is even better because of the switch up with who the villain is. Dillinger's, I believe it's his son. He looks a lot like Cillian Murphy. It might actually be him. I doubt it, but I don't know. I don't think he's in the credits. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. He looks like him. He looks like Scarecrow from Batman Begins. And yeah, like it is. He's not that much of a presence in the film. He's just kind of there. Again, maybe I missed something, but he's not in it a whole lot. Really, this is about Sam and his dad. Almost like a Lloyd Garmadon and Lord Garmadon situation where you're kind of like, okay, the son is kind of estranged from the father, and they're kind of rebonding and connecting. Cora's there. She's doing cool stuff. And, I think it's a really good film. The action, for the most part, is pretty good. Obviously, it's a step up from Tron 1. There are a few scenes where I think the action could have been a little longer. Like, there's a scene where Cora tries to take out 2 guards, and she, like, kicks a guy and punches a guy, and then, like, she's immediately taken down in, like, 1 second. I don't know if that's because the movie's PG. I don't know if it's, like, a budget thing or a time constraint thing. I got no clue. Some of the action's really great. Like, when Sam's doing the disc stuff with the guy in the beginning where he's kind of, figuring out what he's there for and what he's doing. That's all good. I love the choreography. The flips and stuff look really freaking cool. Everything, like I said, in this film is a big improvement from the first film. From the storytelling, to the writing, to the acting, to the execution, to the CGI, to everything, really. I mean, Tron 1 laid the groundwork, and then Tron 2 kind of, took that and went in a crazy direction. So I'm excited to see what Tron Ares, Tron 3 will do. Again, though, I feel like, we could have gotten, like, I know there was a Tron animated show, which I believe is canon, but apparently that left on a cliffhanger. If you know anything about that, don't ruin it for me, but if you have seen that show, tell me if it's good or not. I do have Disney Plus, so maybe one day I can check that out, but we'll see. I have a lot. I'm still doing my Marvel movie review. Obviously, I got Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I know it's taken me a really effing long time. It's very hard to watch a nearly 3-hour movie on a school night where I got to do lesson plans and get ready to teach. So I only have about a week or so, 2 weeks or so left of school for the most part, and then I'm on summer break. So I'll have a little bit more time during summer to hopefully watch these movies. But I'm going to try to get to Black Panther 2 as soon as I can because I got to keep going with the MCU. I have a Blu-ray unboxing. I got more gameplay stuff. I have another podcast with Recon Trooper I still got to post. So I have a lot of stuff coming up, but I really wanted to get this Tron review out and just kind of tell you guys my thoughts, because I feel almost like I neglected this for a long time, right? I knew Tron was a thing, and I just never got to it. They weren't excuses, they were reasons as to why I couldn't watch them. But finally, I was able to sit down. They're not too long of movies, right? They're not that long. So I sat down and I watched them, and I was like, all right, this is cool. And then after Tron 2, I was like, this is really cool, And then the Tron 3 trailer came out, so it was like really effing good timing, right? Because it was perfect. And then I was like, oh wow, this looks really, really exciting. So I'm excited to re-ride Tron Light Cycle Run, and then also, kind of get more excited. And now that I know the story, and I know the lore, I know the canon of this world, I'm kind of able to understand it more when I actually ride the ride and actually, go into Tron Ares, knowing that I saw these two, and, finally I could say I watched them. So, yeah, leave me a comment down below what your thoughts are on the Tron ride, the Tron animated show, and these 2 movies. Which is your favorite and why? I'm assuming everyone's favorite is Tron Legacy, because it's objectively a better movie, but Tron 1 is not garbage either. There's some falters, but it's nowhere near the worst film I've ever seen. I just myself expect a little bit more in terms of quality and execution. There are certain things that, like I already mentioned, but certain little things I would have changed or would have done differently. But again, that's not to say I hate the film. Once I rewatch it, maybe I'll like it better. I don't know. But my first impressions were like, it's fine. And the second one, I was like, oh, this is really great. So yeah, I really enjoy that. I even didn't mind the de-aged Jeff Bridges, right? I think that might actually be the first, or one of the first, deep fake CGI, whatever you want to effing call it, where they make the guy look younger. It's a little bit uncanny, right? Obviously in 2009, 2010, whatever, it looks like, PS3 cutscene quality. But back in the day, I'm sure that was freaking mind-blowing, right? People are like, oh my god, wow, Jeff Bridges is young, But it's great. I didn't expect him to be de-aged for that amount of time in the film. Like, there's a really good performance he gives with both characters. And again, the budget for this must have been effing insane. This was probably a big flop, I would imagine, because if it wasn't, we would have gotten Tron 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 by now. But, you know, I really do appreciate that Disney is, you know, at least not abandoning this like they are the Muppets, and they're actually giving a shite about this one, and they're trying to kind of, you know, maybe not revitalize it, because I don't think Tron is dead, but, you know, it's fallen down a little bit in terms of popularity. There's always people that are like, oh, I grew up with the original, and they have nostalgia for it, which is good. You know, I don't have nostalgia for this franchise, but I do enjoy the franchise now, so I'm excited to see where they go with this, and hopefully Tron 3 is actually success, and they're able to, you know, kind of build from that and maybe make some more sequels, maybe make a game. I play Lego Tron, you know what I mean? That'd be a fun-ass game. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think about this franchise, though. Again, I'm going to leave it off there. Just wanted to give you guys my kind of mini reviews of these two movies, but yeah, I got a lot more content coming up. Again, I know I apologize. I wish I could post every day. I just, you know, I get home from school and then I'm tired and then I got to do whatever, so it is what it is. But I am going to try my best to get all these things out. I'm watching Andor. The first 3 episodes of Season 2 are out, so I'm going to try to watch 1 episode a day. I'll give my first impressions on that. So yeah, lots of fun stuff to look forward to. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like. Leave a comment down below again. Can't wait to talk to you about Tron in the comments. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the grid.